Demons on the Doorstep, a subtitled Chinese motion picture, opens in 1945 in northern China, which is being possessed by the Royal Japanese Armed Force. Ma Dason is with his fancy woman when two detainees of the anti-Japanese resistance are dumped on his doorstep. Dason is told to keep them covered up for some days, but the days extend into weeks, and the weeks into months. Dason chooses to exchange the detainees for grain, but his arrange turns amiss. The Japanese butcher numerous individuals in his town, and the Chinese armed force demonstrates to be no companion to Dason and the villagers either. The acting in Demons on the Doorstep is greatly practical. The storyline, be that as it may, goes from the comedian to the awful to an odd parody, and does so in such a delayed way that the motion picture gets to be nearly unwatchable. At times, there's a consistent stream of foul dialect, particularly the F word, within the subtitles. Amplified scenes of extraordinary savagery happen. Eventually, this Marxist parody clearly shows that, no matter who's in power, the peasants get the wrong end of the bargain. It could be a biting parody, which is able to be rapidly overlooked exterior of China, substance, dad, co, LLL, DVV, SS, NN, A, D, M, agnostic worldview with the Marxist message that the laborer continuously gets the off-base conclusion of the adhere, 63 obscenities and 2 obscenities, parcels of viciousness, counting ancient man bayonet, boy bayonet, man's head cut off, segregated head observes Japanese trooper hand sword to Chinese trooper, wicked beatings, kickings, and point-clear shootings, with blood, intercut appeared and after that talked about, brief female, bareness, upper male. Nudity and men in thongs, drinking and smoking, and, weakness, groveling, injured pride, and references to predecessors and resurrection. More detail. Demons on the Doorstep may be distant better, a much better, a higher, a stronger, an improved, a stronger motion picture within the eyes of people who talk Chinese. In any case, in the event that you don't talk Chinese, and indeed in case you are doing cherished subtitled motion pictures, the subtitles in this motion picture are as well much, not to specify the reality that there's a consistent stream of indecent subtitles at a few focuses within the motion picture. The motion picture opens in 1945 in northern China, which is being involved by the majestic Japanese armed force. A little bunch of Japanese troopers are walking into a modest town playing a walking tune on their Western rebellious. At the same time, Ma Dason is having sex with his fancy woman when a thump on his entryway strengthens him to stow away his special lady within the trunk. As before long as he opens the entryway, a weapon is pushed in his confront. 2 burlap packs full of Japanese detainees are tossed into his cabin. Dason is told to keep the Japanese detainees and examine them. The captor with the weapon says that he will come back for the detainees on an used a long time day. One of the Japanese detainees is an rankled trooper who keeps reviling Dason and all the Chinese. The other is really the Chinese interpreter for the Japanese, who deciphers these curses into aimless expressions such as thank you, granddad, and happy modern year. The days float into months as the laborers attempt to figure out what to do with these detainees. They nourish them and nurture their wounds, and revile each other. Inevitably, Dason and a little bunch of laborers go to the neighborhood city to contract and kill her. They enlist an ancient man who isn't able to decapitate the detainees. The detainees, in turn, make a bargain that, in the event that they are returned to the Japanese battalion, they will allow the town 3 cartloads of grain. The Japanese commander is infuriated, but accepts within the honor of the Japanese troops so much that he sends the grain with the regiment. When they get to the village, the commander tosses a party for the laborers. He commands the laborers to shoot the Japanese detainee. When they don't, he orders the Japanese troopers to bayonet, behead, mangle, and burn the laborers within the fire, and at that point burn the village. Dason get away this butcher since he's gone to urge his sweetheart to cheer in his triumph. Within the center of the butcher, word is sent that the majestic armed force has surrendered to the Americans. Cut to the head of the Chinese armed force tolerating the yield of the Japanese with words of commendation. At that point, the Chinese major calls forward a peasant who collaborated and orders that the peasant's brains are blown out at point clear run. Dason, who may be a radical all through the motion picture, is finally driven to kill. He clubs and beats a few of the Japanese, and is in the long run captured and decapitated. Sometime recently he dies. His beheaded head observes the Japanese trooper who executed him turn his sword over to the Chinese major. This Marxist parody clearly shows that, no matter who's in power, the laborers get the off-base conclusion of the bargain. The Japanese manhandle the laborers and the Chinese armed force manhandle them. The acting in Demons on the Doorstep is amazingly practical. The storyline, in any case, goes from the comedian to the awful to a twisted parody, and does so in such a delayed way that the motion picture gets to be nearly unwatchable. At times, there's a steady stream of foul dialect, particularly the F word, within the subtitles. Amplified scenes of extraordinary savagery happen, counting body individuals being cut off, individuals beaten, beheadings, and point-clear shootings. Indeed, cannibalism is talked about. As on the off chance that to underline the viciousness, the ancient logician of the town is bayonet, and the warrior takes a few minutes to evacuate the knife, whereas the ancient man kicks the bucket. At that point, the youthful boy who cherishes Dason is bayonet for looking to the Japanese for assurance. These pitiless activities are combined with chuckling, deride, and the consistent singing of the Japanese military band.